Hello and welcome to Quilt Addicts Anonymous. I'm Stephanie Soebbing. This is the first video tutorial in our How to Make a T-Shirt Quilt series. We're going to take you through everything you need to know, but today we're going to start with the supplies that we need. I think a lot of times when people make T-shirt quilts, they think, oh, I have all the T-shirts, I have everything I need, and no, you do not. You are going to need other things. You're going to need your batting, you're going to need your interfacing to stabilize everything, you're going to need the tools in order to make it properly. So there definitely is a materials cost in it, well beyond the T-shirts that have already been provided. Obviously, first and foremost, you need a set of T-shirts. Now, we have a pattern available on our website, shop.quiltaddictsanonymous.com, which has figured out all the math you need for it. But like, for example, the one that I'm going to make here is a lap size quilt, and that takes 16 blocks. Now, that does not necessarily mean 16 T-shirts, because sometimes you can take like pocket squares and you can cut up 4 pocket squares and they can go together to make one 12-inch finished block. So let me show you an example of that. All right, so here I've got 2 shirts. This one was from a trip to QuiltCon in Savannah, Georgia, and we ate at a place called the Pirate's House. And so we've got a pocket square on the front, so I can use a 6.5-inch square ruler to cut this out. And then on the back is the big design where I'm going to use this one as one whole 12.5-inch square. I have 2 6.5 by 12.5-inch blocks that, when sewn together, make one 12.5-inch block. Here's another one where these were taken from sleeves, where we had writing going down the sleeve, so it worked perfectly for me to be able to put that in as a vertical 6.5 by 12.5 and put that together. So here's one of those 4 patches. So I took my 6.5-inch square ruler, cut out all those pocket squares, and then sewed them together to create a 4 patch and made a design from that. So really look your shirts over, make sure you're looking at them and deciding, well, maybe there's more than one element I can use on this, and we're going to go over cutting your shirts in another video, but just keep that in mind as you're gathering your shirts. That say you want to do a lap quilt and you only have 14 shirts, that might be enough. You just have to look at where the screen printing is, how you can make it work, and get that to work there. Next up, you're going to need some woven fusible interfacing that is lightweight. I prefer the Staples sewing aids. Since it is fabric with the fusible applied to it, it is much easier to work with. It makes your fabric slide really nice, and it's much thinner, which means it doesn't add as much bulk to your seams, because T-shirt quilts can get really bulky. So this is my recommended interfacing. Obviously, there's a lot of basic sewing tools that you're going to need. We're going to need a rotary cutter to cut our T-shirts, and also a good pair of scissors, because we're going to have to cut up the sides of those T-shirts as well. Now, continuing on the theme of cutting, a 12.5-inch square ruler is a must, because we're going to be cutting, essentially we're not piecing a quilt block, we are cutting a quilt block out of our T-shirts, and then it's just ready to sew together. But T-shirts do not behave like quilters cotton. They're going to stretch, they're going to get out of whack, and so you need to just be able to put this down on your mat, cut around it, and then lift it up and move it. And so if you're trying to do it with any other tool, you're going to have a really hard time making it work. And along those same lines, this isn't super necessary if you're not going to do anything with pocket squares, but I like to also have my 6.5-inch square ruler on hand, because that is also really helpful, because when you're laying it out, let's pull this one back out. I mean, essentially, and again, we're going to go over cutting T-shirts in another video, but you're going to be able to put this down and get your design absolutely centered, and you're going to know exactly where all the edges are, so it's going to be a lot easier to do that. Get it nice and lined up so it's nice and straight with your design, and it just is a lot easier to cut something like this when you have the final shape of it, because then again, we can just cut around. We don't have to worry about things shifting on us. So it's a good addition to have, and it has a lot of applications well beyond T-shirt quilts. I use this for all my triangles that I sew, for squaring them up. So it's just a good ruler to have in your collection. This is another must-have. You need to have an applique pressing sheet. This is what's going to go between your iron and your screen printing, because if you just set your iron straight on the screen printing when we're fusing that fusible interfacing to the back to stabilize everything so it stays nice and straight when we're sewing it to quilting fabric, you are going to have a mess of screen printing and come up on your iron. So you need to have one of these, and it needs to be a Teflon applique pressing sheet, because then the the iron will fuse it down without having the screen printing lift off of your t-shirt and making you very, very sad. We don't want that to happen. Lastly, you're going to want some friction gel pens. These come in a couple of different colors. Depending on what color range you have with your shirts, you might want to have a couple of them on hand. This is for when we're going to be marking our lines, because we're going to quilt on our home sewing machine for this one. Just do some simple walking foot quilting. And this will help you know where you're going next, and everything will be good to go. Now, people on the internet, the quilt police, we like to call them, they poo-poo these pens because they say it comes back when it gets cold. Well, all you have to do is iron if it ever does, and it will go away. And I've got a quilt behind me on here that shipped all over the country, and I'm sure was in some cold airplanes, and I marked all over that, and the lines never came back. But what does happen with this sometimes is if you mark it and then you press it, where the line was, it sometimes is a little bit lighter in that fabric. So if you're quilting right over that line, no big deal, you're not going to see it ever again. But if you maybe aren't on it exactly, you might have a little bit of a slightly less vibrant section of fabric there. So just test it on a piece of the t-shirt that you are not using to make sure that that's not going to happen on your quilt before you use it, or just stitch right over the line that nobody will ever know anyway. So I love these. I use them all the time. They're a fabulous addition to your sewing arsenal. Then obviously we need thread, a sewing machine. We're going to need a walking foot when we get to the quilting section. These are all things that as a quilter you should have, but if you are finding this not as a quilter, you can get those things wherever you purchased your sewing machine. If you did purchase your sewing machine from a big box store, you may not be able to get things like a walking foot, which we'll cover more in depth when we get to the quilting section. That may not be able to be available at a place like Walmart. So find a sewing machine retailer near you where you can get something that's compatible for your machine, because it's a must-have. You need it for when you're attaching your binding. You need it for when you're quilting. It's a very, very good thing to have. All right, so and then also batting, thread, you know, the basics that we need. Every once in a while, I remember we got questions when we first did this. It was at least like 10 years ago, I think. People will be like, can you do this by hand? And the answer is absolutely not. You will never finish in time, and it is just too thick a material. You want to have a sewing machine. So get the best sewing machine that you can afford, borrow one from somebody, and go from there. If you really love sewing, we have a video on what to look for when you're getting a sewing machine. The one that I'm using today is the Jubilant by Baby Lock. I'm not represented by Baby Lock. I get no money for saying this. That is a very good basic entry-level sewing machine. It runs about $450, $500. Unfortunately, the Singers and things like that you get at a big box store, they're not made the way they were when our grandmothers had the big heavy metal ones. They're not going to last forever and always. And so unfortunately, unless you're willing to spend about $400 or $500 on a sewing machine, you're going to have issues where your sewing machine is going to be kind of fighting with you on a few things. It's going to want to eat your fabric. Sometimes it gets sucked out under the feed dogs. And that doesn't mean that if all you can afford right now is a $100 sewing machine from Walmart, that you shouldn't do this. Everybody's got to start somewhere. Go get it. Get used to it, have some fun, but know that if you're constantly fighting with your machine, that doesn't mean that you are a bad sewer or that you're doing anything wrong. It just means that when you're able to, you should consider upgrading to a machine that is more built for today's sewer and built to last. All right, so that's what you need for supplies. Of course, you need the pattern as well. You can get that on our website. And I completely forgot to mention that we need some fabric as well. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to choose fabric to go in your t-shirt sashing. And I'm actually going to pick mine for the quilt that I'm going to make on camera live with you guys. So that'll be fun. All right, so go check out all the things. We're going to have a page on our website where you can see all the videos in one place. All right, until next time, happy quilting.